Good morning to all of you. Let us continue the same chapter, migration, types, causes and consequences. And before taking up new topic, I would like to recapitulate the topics which we have done in the previous video. We have discussed about what is population, place of birth, place of residence, then streams of migration and lifetime migrant, all these. So let us recapitulate once again that what is in fact migration. If someone asks you to define, then what is migration? Migration, you can simply tell that migration, movement of the population from one place to another, is known as migration. Migration may be permanent or temporary or seasonally, okay, or seasonal. But when people migrate permanently from one place to another, it is known as permanent migration. Permanently from one place to another, this is called as what? Permanent migration. Whereas temporary migration may be annual, seasonal or daily. Census of India determines the migration by place of birth or place of residence. These are the two topics. Remember, in my previous video I have discussed with you, but I would like to make it more clear to you in this video that what about place of birth or place of residence? See children, place of birth, if the place of birth is different from the place of census enumeration, one is described a lifetime migrant. But before that, you should know about that what is place of birth. The place of birth is a place where a person is born. Suppose I was born in Ranchi, not suppose, this is a fact. I was born in Ranchi and then I have migrated here to Patna. Now, my place of birth is different from the place of census enumeration. Now, my counting, enumeration. Remember, I told you enumeration. Enumeration is what? Listing or counting. Now, I as a person in census would be counted here in Patna. So, my place of birth is different from the place of census enumeration. Got it? So, this is called what? Lifetime migrant. I have migrated from Ranchi to Patna. Now, another thing is, or another component is place of residence. Place of residence, what is that? If the previous residence is different from the place of census enumeration. Got it? If the previous residence is different from the place of census enumeration, my place of residence was different and now I am residing here. So, these are the two things. My place of residence, earlier it was there in Ranchi and now here I am residing here at Patna. So, it is different to then two major components, place of birth and place of residence. Okay, these are the two most important components of migration. And migration, that is what? The change of place. But one thing is very important which you should keep it in mind, that according to the census 2011, that the number of migrants on the basis of place of birth and place of residence was that 30.7 crore. 30.7 crore was what? The place of birth. The migrants, they were counted as 30.7 crore on the basis of place of birth, and on the place of residence, that they were counted as 31.5 crore, right, or 31% of out of total population, and place of birth 30% out of total population. So, these were the two most important terms which I wanted to discuss with you. That is why I have discussed in this video again. Now, let me tell you something about the streams of migration. As I told you earlier, that what is that? A streams of migration. Migration is defined as movement of people from one place to another, as just now I have told you, and to another for a comparatively longer period. And the streams of migration, if you look at that, what are the different streams of migration here in the country, that it can be identified as rural to rural, rural to urban, urban to urban, urban to rural, and international migration. I must have discussed with you in my previous video. Migration can also be classified as internal within the country or international migration from one country to another. That is what out migration and in migration. Out migration, remember the word in my previous video or in my first video, I have discussed with you immigration, the word immigration and immigration. What is that? The process of people moving out from a place is called out migration or immigration, and the reverse process is what? In migration or immigration, especially for settlement, is called what? Migration. Now remember, I must have discussed with you migration trends in India, that the migration trends within India can be classified into two types: intrastate and interstate. Intrastate and intrastate and interstate. Well, what is that intrastate? This type of migration mainly occurs with the state, and it can be inter-district or inter-district. In the first case, the movement is within a district, okay, within a district, while the latter case, it is from one district to another within the same state. So let me tell you once again, this is what intrastate and interstate. So interstate and interstate, inter and intra within the state. Just now I gave you one example, that suppose two schools are there in Patna district, your school, LVS and DAV, and then volleyball or basketball, this competition will take place, suppose. Then there will be the match between these two, your school and DAV. Then that would be what? Between two schools in the same district. But another district, if you take another district and the school, your school and the school of any other district, then there would be what? That then there would be the inter-district match or game. Now, interstate migration, this involves movement of people from one state to another. For example, movement of people from Bihar to Jharkhand, okay, from Bihar to Andhra Pradesh, or from Andhra Pradesh to Jharkhand. This is what interstate. For example, migration may take place from Agra in UP to Bharatpur in Rajasthan. So that is what about the interstate. Now today I wanted to discuss with you some other topics like spatial variation in migration. This is the new topic, and the topics which I have discussed with you, that was the recapitulation of the topics which I had already done in the previous video. Now let us start today's topic, spatial variation in migration. What is that, a spatial migration in, or a spatial variation in migration? Spatial migration, spatial in fact is related to what, you know, a place, or related to area. That what happens here, that there is a redistribution of population or movement of the people along, or we can discuss it like this, that in the context too, this is what a spatial variation spatial variation in migration, we'll have to discuss it in context to migration. Okay, spatial variation, we have to discuss it in context to migration. Okay, so in context to migration, that the movement of the people across the administrative border, movement of the people across the administrative border, that is what the spatial, what the spatial variation or spatial migration from one state to another. Just now I told you that where will you see that this spatial, in which states would you see that this type of a spatial variation as far as migration is concerned that takes place? Some states like Maharashtra, Delhi, Gujarat, Haryana attract migrants from other states such as UP, Bihar, sorry, UP, Bihar, Odisha, these. So great, okay, so why is it so? Why does it attract? Because it offers number of opportunities, it offers number of employment and work and all these. So therefore these states attract the workers or the laborers from Bihar, from Odisha, from Uttar Pradesh, like this. Okay. Now Greater Mumbai, there is one important term which I would like to discuss with you, urban agglomeration. Let me make it clear at first. Greater Mumbai receives the higher number of in-migrants. Greater Mumbai. Greater Mumbai receives the higher number of in-migrants. In-migrants, what is that? Movement of the people from where? From one state to another, or one thing, that movement of the people from one district to another in migration, okay, or in migrants. Then intrastate migration constituted the largest share in it. Just now I told you from one district to another, or intrastate, I mean in that state only, that the movement of the people takes place on large scale as far as this is concerned. Now these differences are largely due to the size of a state in which these urban agglomeration are located. Then you may ask me, children, what is this urban agglomeration? Urban agglomeration is simply, in very simple word, you can define it as the extended cities or suburbs or outskirts or the fringes of your district, right, that the urban agglomeration takes place. Now urban agglomeration can be defined as is a continuous urban spread constituting a town and its adjoining outgrowths. Town and its adjoining, it means one town, the boundary of one town stops and another town, the development of the another and the growth of the another town that starts taking place. So two or more physically contiguous, what is that? I mean two more or less, next to, you can say contiguous, that is what the next to towns together with or without outgrowths of such towns. It should have population more than 20,000, right, more than 20,000, or then the 20,000, or they should have a municipal corporation. I mean the cities, what type of cities, which cities? Mega cities or million plus cities. You can see that if there is a high density of population and due to congestion, what happens, that there is a growth of the new towns on suburbs or on outskirts, on the fringes, that takes place. So that is your urban agglomeration. But two important thing, the population should be more than 20,000 and the municipal corporation that plays a very important role, or should have the municipal corporation. Important thing which I would like to discuss with you is that if the spatial variation, do you think that this spatial variation may vary from one state to another? It may vary. 2-3 conditions are there. One is the size of the state, another one is that work opportunities for what? for work or for employment. Okay, so that is what that the spatial variation, the states Maharashtra, Delhi, Gujarat and Haryana attract migrants from the other states, right, from the other states. So that was about the spatial variation in migration. Now let me ask you one thing, that if you are supposed to write about the migration, that the what are the different trends of migration, then you would simply write that the migration trends within India can be classified into two. One is intrastate, another one is your interstate migration. Intrastate within your state and interstate between two states. Okay, and then the place of birth and place of residence I have just now discussed with you, and lifetime migrant I have discussed. And then another important thing about what I have discussed with you is the out migration, internal and external migration. Internal migration, external, that is your international migration. Then out migration or emigration, and then in migration or emigration. These are very important or technical terms or geographical terms which you should know about in this chapter. Another important topic which I had discussed with you in my previous video was the waves of Indian diaspora. Do you remember? Diaspora, movement of the people. But we had discussed about the waves of Indian diaspora in three waves that the Indian diaspora took place: the first wave, the second wave and the third wave. And remember that the first wave took place during the British period, when a large number of laborers were sent to Caribbean islands and Mauritius and Trinidad, Tobago. Remember, I had taken these names, Fiji and South America, Africa, by British. From where? From which states? From UP and Bihar. Okay, and some were sent by French and others were sent by Portuguese from Goa, right? Such migrations were covered under time bound contract. Remember, I had discussed with you, or I must have told you, the Girmit Act. Okay, what was that? The act, Indian Immigration Act, and that was a time bound contract between British and Indians, that for 6 months, for 1 year, for 2 years, that we are sending the, or we are taking the laborers from this country, and then after that we will return, or will ask them to return to their original homeland. So these laborers were living in inhuman conditions. Living conditions were, the living condition was so poor, it was so pathetic. They were leading their life as slave. I had taken the word bonded laborers. They were treated very, very brutally, as well as they were treated just like slaves. Okay, and inhuman conditions, they led their life in inhuman conditions, right? And but they had to work from dawn to dusk, because they were just like, there was a contract between these two, British and Indians, but the Indians did not think of this ever, that if the laborers, they are taking the laborers from our country, they will behave like a slave when they had taken to the other countries. Well, that was the first wave of Indian diaspora, in which the poor laborers, they had gone. In the second wave of migration, or second wave of Indian diaspora, that the second wave of migrants went to settle in neighboring countries like Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia and some African countries. And this is in fact a recent development, under which that you can say that the professionals, artisans, then the traders, factory workers went out in search of better quality of life. Okay, they had gone only for better quality of life. Then this trend is still continuing, and remember I had taken the word, or I used the word, oil boom. Well, that had taken place in West Asia, and that had also attracted large number of workers from our country, where they were skilled and some were semi-skilled. Now the third wave of Indian diaspora that started in 60s and still continues to operate, and in this period high profile professionals like doctors, engineers migrated out of India. Okay, and in 1980s software engineers, management consultants, then the financial experts, they had gone to other countries, like developed countries in fact. Okay, and why did they go? They went only on high packages. Okay, they were highly qualified and skilled laborers, and so the experts, they went on they were the most or highly skilled people from our country, and they started working in the countries like USA, Canada, Germany, New Zealand. And after liberalization in 1991, education and knowledge based Indian migration has made Indian diaspora most powerful in the world. Now, what do you see at present? That Indians are of either migrated, or they're leaving, or they're permanently leaving, or some times that they are also working on contractual basis for 2 years, for 4 years, and sometimes this contract also extends. I mean, the extension is given by the companies where they are working. So what happens that some of the migrants, or the Indians, they had left the country permanently, and some are working on contractual basis, and then after 2 years, 4 years, as soon as their contract overs, then they come back to their country. So today we have discussed about the spatial variation in migration, then place of origin, place of birth, place of residence, out migration, in migration, migration trends in India, and streams of migration in the country, like from rural to rural, from rural to urban, from urban to urban, from urban to rural. Okay, that's all for today. Now I'll send you assignments based on the topic which we have discussed today. Okay.